Hey everyone, it's Jasmine. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my flows are all about accessibility and meeting you where you are on the mat. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate you. Today's flow will be very special to me. It will be the flow that I actually presented earlier this week at my first event, Root in Residence. So I just wanted to share this flow with you in case you missed the event. You're going to get it here today. So before we get started, ensure that you have your blocks. Mine still do not have a name, y'all. They're waiting. They're like, please name me. I need to be named so bad. And also, if you have a bolster or if you would like to use your blocks, we're going to get started with breath work first, and then we'll jump into the flow. So I'll give you time if you wanted to go grab something to sit on top of. If not, an easy seated pose is great. And you can also have your legs in a crisscross or more traditional pose here, easy seated pose, or with your legs out, whatever feels best for you. So let's get started with our breath work. We are going to just relax here in this easy seated pose. And we're just going to settle into today's practice. Feel free if you'd like to close your eyes. I was already there. I was like, girl, I already know what I want to do. But if you do not want to close your eyes, a soft gaze will work as well. So feel free to just sit here into this pose, continuing to breathe at a normal pace here. And we're just filling out our bodies today, noticing how we feel on the mat and settling into our breath here. And we're going to begin with oceanic breathing here, and I'm going to give you an overview of how that looks. So we're going to inhale through our nose. So, if you like to open your eyes as I do a demonstration of the breathing, if not, closing your eyes and just listening to the instructions will work as well. So, we're going to inhale through our nose and then exhale through our mouths. When you're exhaling, imagine that you're trying to fog a window. So feel free to repeat that oceanic breathing cycles on your own. I will continue to breathe as well. And again, feel free to close your eyes or soft gaze. So inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. And I'm going to go quiet and allow for you to continue your oceanic breathing on your own. We'll do about 3 to 5 rounds, and then we will return to a normal breathing state. Complete one more full cycle and then return to your natural breathing state. Feel free to open your eyes. If not, you can continue to have them closed here As we set an intention for today's practice, I intend to move with care for my body as well as show you all some accessible tools today, using my blocks and accessible ways to meet poses where you are today. So that's my intent. And feel free to set your intent for today's practice. So, as we get started for today's practice, I'm going to just remove my bolster and then we're going to get to an easy seated pose. Gonna move her over to the side. And then with our easy seated pose here, we're going to have our legs out in this easy seated pose and just relax our shoulders here. And then we're going to begin with a couple of neck rows here. So what we're going to do is take our chin and then we're going to bring it down to our chest here. Feel this nice stretch in the back of your neck. And then take your nose and imagine that you are trying to draw circles with your nose. So starting out with our right side here, we're going to draw circles with our nose and begin with this neck roll here. And we are just breathing at a normal pace here and focusing on some mobility in our neck as we draw circles with our nose. So get about 2 more circles here on your right side. And then with our chin to chest here, we're going to pause and then go in the opposite direction. So again, now we're creating circles with our nose, but going in the opposite direction here. And get a couple more circles. And with your chin to chest here, we're going to pause and then look straight forward to meet us back into a centered pose here. So, with our hands rested on our thighs, we're going to take our hands and reach over our heads here. So, just a tip that I wanted to provide you all is just focusing on how our body feels with this pose here. So, sometimes we naturally have a feeling of our arms or shoulders scrunching up to our ears. So I just encourage you all to imagine that you're holding a large beach ball here overhead and you're getting ready to throw it. And this just is a visual and really just something to help us bring our shoulders away from our ears, creating more space. So, with our arms creating a little bit more space, twist open to the right side of your body here. And I'm going to quickly grab one of my blocks here and place it right behind me to where my right hand can rest. And that's just bringing the floor a little bit closer to me here and bringing my left hand on my right leg here. And so I'm looking over my right shoulder and just bringing a little bit more accessibility by including the block here. It just rises up the earth and allows for you to place your right hand here as we look over. And now we're going to inhale, sweeping our hands back overhead. And then we're going to twist to the opposite side. So just moving my block to the opposite side here and then resting my now right hand on my left leg and looking over my shoulder. And in this pose here, imagine if you could twist a little bit deeper using your breath here. Looking over your opposite shoulder now. Return to center, placing your block wherever it may fall. And now we're rested here with our hands back on our thighs. So I'm just going to show you a couple of variations of cat cow here. So we're going to continue to sit in our easy seated pose with our legs out here, with our hands rested on our thighs. And we're going to open up our chest here, bringing our shoulders back. Oh, yeah, this feels good. And you can also look towards your eyebrows here for a cow pose seated. And now we're going to round our spines here, tucking in our belly button for a cat pose. And then you can bounce back between the two. So this is another variation of a cat cow pose. And you can also, if you like, you can continue with that option, or you can go to a more traditional cat cow pose. So dropping your belly and looking again towards your eyebrows, and then rounding your spine. So, a couple of different variations of cat cow for you. Feel free to tap into whichever feels best. And remember to breathe. Now, if you are in a more traditional cat cow pose, remain in tabletop. And if you're in the seated cat cow pose, please meet me in a tabletop position here. And so now, since we're here, just wanting to highlight our alignment. So, ensuring that our hips are over our knees and then shoulders over the wrist here. So, not spilling over in this pose, but creating some nice alignment here. And so, what we're going to do is a bird dog pose and going to show you a couple of different variations. So, straighten out your left leg here. And then we're going to bring our right arm in front of us. So this could be a variation of your bird dog pose. So a nice challenge or balance challenge that you could use here. You can also lift your toes here, your pointed back left leg. This could be an option for you as well. And you can also rise or raise up your opposite arm. And we're breathing. Remember to breathe as we shake together. Returning back to your tabletop position, and then repeating on the opposite side. So, stretching out your back leg, you can place your front arm in front of you, the opposite, lifting up the back leg as well, and then raising your opposite arm. All great options to balance, to test out your balance. And return back to tabletop position here. Now placing your big toes together and widening your hips here. We're going to sit back into a child's pose. Inhale, lifting your head up and returning back to a tabletop position. Now untuck your toes, push your hips back and up for a downward dog. So, just wanting to talk through this downward dog. Don't worry if your feet are not planted firmly on the ground here. If they're raised, that is totally fine. What I'd like for you to focus on is your arms. You should be not gently, you should be firmly pressing against the earth here. And feel free to have a nice bend in your knees as well. So, pushing away from the earth here. And if you like, you can also raise each heel at an opposite time to walk your dog.
or feel free to find stillness in this pose. Now, if you like, you can widen your stance here just a little and then walk up for your feet to meet your hands here. And we're now in a wide forward fold here. And your hand placements can be a couple of places. You can have your blocks for your hands to rest on your blocks here in this forward fold. Your hands can also rest on your thighs. You can hold your elbows together, reaching towards your shin, the top of your feet, or on the ground. So a couple of different options for you here in forward fold. And you can also have a nice bend in your knees here, or you can work towards straighter legs. Inhale, halfway lift, bringing your shoulders away from your ears here with a nice bend again, whichever feels good for you. And then exhale, forward fold. Pressing into all four corners of your feet. Rise yourself up, pushing through the earth. Inhale, sweeping your hands above your head, placing your palms together, looking towards your thumbs here. Exhale, hands to heart. That's great. That was our warm up. So, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into our flow. It will be 3 rounds, with the first 2 rounds demonstrating variations, picking up the speed a little. And then the last round, we would include one more new move. So, it should be no surprises to you. So, grab your blocks and let's get started. Meet me here at the top of your mat. We're going to inhale, sweeping our hands above our heads here. Again, imagine if you have that beach ball in your hand, creating space. Now, with your right leg, we're going to step back at a 45-degree angle. And I'm actually going to move a little bit so you can see where my feet are on my mat specifically. So I have my right leg at a 45-degree angle, and then my front leg here at more of a angle towards the front of my mat. With our arms reached out here, bending our front knee, we're now in warrior one. And so the biggest piece that I would like for you to take away around warrior one is our hip placement. So what I always like to inform my students, imagine that you have headlights on your hips and you're aiming for those headlights to point straight. And so a trick that you could use if you feel like you're pointing maybe to the right side here, you want to take your left hip and then bring it back. And then that can help with that alignment here. So as we sit into warrior one, you can have your hands above your head here, or if you like for a little bit of a challenge, feel free to take your arms back towards your body. And you can lean into warrior one as well. So this is just another option for you. So just giving you some options here for warrior one. I'm just going to leave my hands above my head here. So we're going to now open up into warrior two with our heels aligned here in warrior two. So with our front knee bent, you can pulsate a little bit here in warrior two, or you can find stillness, whatever works best for you. Flip your front palm, straighten your front leg, and then bring your front palm over your head here for a reverse warrior. Resting your back hands either on your back here or towards the lower half of your or the upper thigh. Now, cartwheeling, we're going to frame the front of our foot with our hands. You can use a block here if you like, Or you can, again, just frame your front foot. You're going to pivot your back leg, bend it, and then step into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Root to rise. So pressing into all four corners, lifting your hands above your head here. And now we're going to repeat the flow. So taking your opposite leg here and then stepping back at a 45-degree angle for your warrior one. Feel free to adjust your hip, bringing that front hip back. And then you have a couple of different variations for your arm placement here in warrior one. Open up to warrior two. Gazing at your front middle finger here. Feel free to add in some pulsations if you like, or find stillness. Flipping your front palm over, straightening out your front leg, lifting that head over for reverse triangle. Y'all don't know how many times I've said that. Cartwheel to frame your front foot here. Pivoting your back leg and stepping into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Root to rise. Sweeping your hands above your head. Exhale, hands to heart. Let's get started with flow number two. Inhale, hands up. Stepping back to warrior one. Checking that hip alignment. Open up to warrior two. Flipping your palms, straighten your leg. Reverse triangle. Cartwheel, frame your foot. And then step into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Pressing into all four corners. Root to rise. Stepping back into warrior one on your opposite side. Open up to warrior two. Reverse your palm. Straighten that front leg. Reverse triangle. Cartwheel to frame your foot. Step into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Root to rise. Hands together. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, sweeping your hands up. Stepping back to warrior one. Warrior two. And now what we're going to do, just to change up the flow a little, is we're going to take our front hand in this warrior two, and then we're going to rest it on our upper thigh here, and then bring our hands up above our back hand for an extended side angle. Feel free to also rest your forearm on your upper thigh if you like. Back to warrior two. Reverse your palm, straighten your leg, reverse triangle. Cartwheel to frame your foot and step into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise. Hands above your head. And now we're stepping back into warrior one with our opposite leg here. Open up to warrior two. We're resting our hands on our upper thigh or forearm, bringing over our opposite arm over our head for extended side angle. Back to warrior two. Reverse your palm, straighten your leg, reverse triangle. Cartwheel to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise. Placing our palms together, gazing at our thumbs. Exhale, hands to heart. Great job. Now we're going to end the practice with a cool down and then Shavasana. So meet me down here in our easy seated pose with our legs straightened out. And here we're just going to repeat our actual warm up. So bringing our chins to our chest here, drawing circles with your nose starting on the right side. And what I just asked for you to think about in this cool down is how does your body feel now after you flow, connect with your breath? Use your Shavasana to think about how are you feeling after this? Pausing, chin to chest, and then repeating on the opposite side, the neck circles. Chin to chest here, and then looking straight ahead to center. Inhale, sweeping your hands up, and then twisting to your right here. Looking over your shoulder. Inhale, sweeping your hands above your head, and then exhale, twisting to the opposite side. Returning back to center, and then actually completing the cat cow that you prefer. So, again, that could be in an easy seated pose with your legs out or a more traditional cat cow. So, I encourage you, whichever cat cow that you've chosen, to breathe with your inhale and exhale, connecting your breath with this movement. And wherever you are, if you can meet me in a tabletop position, we're going to transition to a child's pose. So bringing your knees wide, your big toes touching, sitting back on your hips, and then straightening out your front arms here. And feel free to create some space if you like. You can bring your arms out just a little bit wider here to create space in your shoulders. Inhale, looking up and returning to a tabletop position. And now we're going to swing our legs over and get ready for our Shavasana or corpse pose. Since she's here already, my bolster, I'm going to place her under my legs here just for some added support. If you do not have a bolster, that is totally fine. Your traditional Savasana is great. So as we prep here for our Shavasana, I like to also again just thank you for joining me today. And I really would like for you in this time of slowing down to think about what feels different from the start to the end of today's practice. If you have more time to be in Shavasana, I encourage you to. However, if you are coming out with me, begin to bring awareness back to your body. That could be through wiggling your fingers and toes, gently opening your eyes, and bringing yourself back to your surrounding. And then rolling over to whichever side feels comfortable in a fetal position here. Mine's always a challenge when I have this bolster, but I'm going to be as smooth as possible. You see, I talked it through so you didn't pay attention. And then rolling over to your side here, resting in this fetal position. Tapping into one more breath cycle and taking your hand and pressing it into the earth here. Thank you for joining me in today's practice. Again, this was very special to me. And when I host another event, I hope you can come. Until next time, bye.